Hey everybody, HkSniper here. So I'd like to thank everyone for their contributions and comments and opinions on the last video in which we talked about a World War II skit. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out. It contains a lot of what, in my opinion, not to do at a World War II type of reenactment, and I'll let the video speak for itself. But most of all, I wanted to thank one of the people that was actually in that video, came on to the video in the comments section and posted. And he pretty much told the whole story about everything that went down. And as I suspected, they were brand new reenactors. It was one of their first skits. They didn't really know what they were doing. And again, even in the video, I said that the thing was filmed 3 years ago or more. And they've improved since then. Now, that's probably one of the absolute best attitudes I've seen ever in quite some time when it's come to, from a reenactor. Usually reenactors are pretty stubborn. So this guy, you're going places. That's all I got to say. You got a great attitude, and I wish you the best of luck, because I think you're going places when it comes to this hobby. You're going to improve even more. We should always be improving. It's all of us. But I think you're going in a great direction. Great job. Keep it up. Keep on keeping on. And just keep that positive attitude like that. Because your attentiveness to criticism and your acceptance of it is fantastic. And you took it in stride, and you pretty much said, hey, you know what? Yeah, we've improved. We looked back on it and realized we made some mistakes. And that's awesome. 2 thumbs up, man. Keep it up. So, let's jump into this topic here. Whew. What's this topic going to be about? Well, probably looked at the title, so you're going to have a hint. So, unless you've been living under a rock, there was a situation on a movie set in which an actor fired a firearm. It was not a prop. Every time I see it mentioned as a prop, I cringe. This is not a prop. This was a live firearm. If it was a prop gun, a fake gun, it would have blown up with a live round in it. I digress. This was a live firearm. Someone, somewhere along the line, I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the video, I believe it's multiple people are responsible for this, screwed up, and a live round was fired, someone died, and someone was injured. Now, you're going to ask, well, what does this have to do with reenacting? Well, this has everything to do with reenacting, because it's pretty much the same situation that we're dealing with on a much larger scale, especially. Reenactors, we've had a few incidents of this type of thing happening. Thankfully, it's very rare, but it has happened, and primarily I believe it's been black powder era reenacting, so Civil War, Rev War, and stuff like that. However, a few years ago, there was an incident where an M1 carbine actually managed to fire live rounds, defeated the blank adapter, and I believe he fired 3 to 4 live rounds downrange and hit a German reenactor. And thankfully, no one was killed in that incident, but it has happened. So the danger is very much there. Blanks are dangerous in general, and we'll maybe talk about that subject a whole different day. I'd like to show some examples of just how dangerous blanks can be. But when it comes to this, like I said, a vast majority of these firearms are real firearms. Now, there are blank fire only guns and stuff like that, but especially when it comes to World War II, Vietnam, Cold War era stuff, a lot of these guns that you see that are actually firing blanks, not like someone using like an airsoft gun or anything, but the ones that are shooting blanks, I'm going to say 95% of the time, those are live firearms. Even if they're LMGs or SMGs or semi-autos, they're most likely BFA'd, blank fire adapted. So the risk is definitely there. So how can we avoid encountering a situation like this? It starts at home. And in this case, it should have started in wherever they store all this stuff. And that boils down to you. You, the reenactor, usually, I would say 99% of the time, are going to supply your blanks. And you should always buy them from someone that's got a good reputation for making them. There's two great ones. And it starts at home. It should start where you're storing them. Like for me, I store my blanks in a locked container. They're rooms away from any live ammunition. They don't even come close to live ammo. They're in their own container. That's the only thing that goes in there. It's marked by caliber, and that's that. That is the first step, and it is a very important step, so that things don't get mixed up. Now the next step is pretty simple. It comes when you're loading up your magazines or stripper clips or end blocks or whatever you're using in your belts. You should be eyeballing every single blank that you load. I do it myself. Do not get distracted. It's not just to look for live rounds, just in case there was a mix-up somewhere along the line. That is to check for deformities. Is the case bent? Is there no primer? Because I have found blanks without primers. It's happened before. Is there any sort of safety concern? Are they blemished? Are they rusted or corroded or whatever? You're checking for that for each one that you load. And that is not only just for your safety, because you don't want to be trying to load up something that could be catastrophic to your own gun, but it's for the safety of your fellow reenactors, because you never know. There could have been a mix-up. You never know. And that is a very, very important safety thing, I think. Now, what happened there compared to how things should follow? Obviously, somehow a live round slipped in and got into the firearm. Either was existing there previously because they were live firing these things apparently. And just so everyone's aware, I am making this video as of 12:05 a.m. So 5 minutes into the 30th of October. So if you watch this video a couple weeks from now and something's changed and you're like, oh no, they changed it, they found this out, I can't see into the future. I don't have a time machine, so forgive me. So somehow they were live firing. Somehow a live round got mixed in. There's your first mistake. You are mixing live fire with blanks. So whose responsibility is that? In reenacting, it is you, the reenactor's responsibility. In terms of acting, that is solely on the armorer. They should be eyeballing, they should be checking every gun, and we'll get into this here in a minute. They should be checking everything to make sure that there's no mix-up. When they're loading it, they should be eyeballing every round that goes in there to make sure that that is a blank. So, when it comes to reenacting, you are your armorer. You're it. So you better make sure. You better be alert. So, what happens next at reenactments? Usually there's a safety briefing in which either a staff member or a ranking person in your unit will come along and they will check all of your blanks to make sure that they are indeed blanks. This is, I think, super important. It puts another set of eyes on the situation, and maybe they'll catch something. And it has happened. It absolutely has happened, even at local events where things have been caught. So that is another step, and very important step that should never be skipped, I think. I think having another set of eyes really helps. And usually at this time also, they're checking the chamber of the weapons. And you're also popping the bolt out. You're looking down the barrel. You're looking for any obstructions, any potentially dangerous or catastrophic problems with your gun. You're making sure your gun's in good working order, which is another big important thing. You're making sure your blank adapter is properly attached. So, very important. Very, very important step. So then, ultimately, you have the battle. Why not? So, where do I see this whole situation? Honestly, this is just my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that this should be law, this should be it. My opinion is the only one that matters. This is just solely my opinion. As a reenactor, you are responsible for every time you pull the trigger. If you screw up and somehow a live round got into your weapon, you are responsible. Now, when it comes to acting, I have been on movie sets. In my reenacting hobby, I've had the opportunity to be in a couple of movies. I've also had the opportunity to be on things for National Geographic, the Discovery Channel, and at the time was the Military Channel as well. So I've had the opportunity. I've been around that stuff. I've been involved where we've taken multiple takes time again. And even as me just, I'm no, superstar actor, obviously. Between takes, I took the time to make sure everything was kosher with my weapon. There was no blockages. To make sure that blanks are still blanks. And because I saw it as I am responsible. If something happens, I am responsible for whatever occurs when I pull the trigger. Unless there is some sort of crazy thing where you have no control over, or some sort of catastrophic failure with the gun that there's no way you could have fathomed or have seen coming to be. So, when it comes to the situation where a live round got through, that should have been caught by the armor. Like I said, in reenacting, the armor is you. That should have been caught right then and there. That should have been caught, by not mixing blanks with live ammo. It should have been caught when the gun was being loaded and checked. That barrel should have been checked for obstructions. Every single chamber. I'm going to guess it was a revolver because it was a Western. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it was. I'm going to assume it was. It should have been checked. Each and every single cylinder should have been checked. And ultimately, and this is going to kind of go beyond what some people think, the actor should have checked. Us as reenactors, we are responsible for whatever happens when we pull that trigger. In my opinion, the actor is responsible for whatever happens when they pull the trigger. Because when you go to a gun store or a gun show, or even when you're with your friends and someone hands you a weapon and they haven't locked the slide back, they haven't popped the bolt open and pulled it back, what's the first thing that you do, or you should be doing? You pull that bolt back, you pull the slide back, you pull the action back, you check the chamber real quick, you make sure it's empty. You are inspecting that gun, and it's nothing against your buddy or your friend or whatever. They could be an ex-Navy SEAL for all you know. But it is that extra set of eyes, what we discussed just a couple minutes ago. That extra set of eyes, you are personally checking it because you're responsible. That weapon is a huge responsibility, and it is now in your hands, in your control. And that's firmly what I believe. Am I saying that the dude should be locked up forever? No. It was an accident, but it was a highly preventable accident. And should there be charges? I hate to say it, but yeah. There was obviously negligence, and it may be mean to think of it this way, but you know what? Someone's life was lost here. This is serious. And I would say the same thing about a reenactor if they screwed up. Because if a reenactor screwed up and killed someone, they should be responsible. Because you screwed up. You didn't check your ammo. You didn't check, before you went into the battle. As you were loading, there were so many opportunities to check. And yeah, you know what? I'd be looking at the staff too for not checking you. So it boils down to what I believe is two people. The one that should have been checking, the armorer. And like I said, in reenacting, you're the armorer. And in reenacting, you're also the actor. And the actor should have been checking. So yeah, forgive me if I sound blunt and forward with it, but this is serious. Someone lost their life. and it could very well happen in reenacting. So that's my opinion on it. Follow the safety steps, guys. Highly important. Be safe out there. Keep an eye on each other, too. You know, other sets of eyes are great. Always be checking those firearms. Because, I mean, even if someone hands it to you and says it's unloaded or it's got a blank in it, check it. Blanks are dangerous anyway, but you should be checking. Just in case. It's nothing personal. It's not that you don't trust that person, it's just that someone is handing you something very dangerous, and you should be careful with it. It's your responsibility. So, you know, if someone handed you a sword, you wouldn't stand in a group of people and start swinging it around everywhere. Kind of the same concept, at least in my opinion. So I'll quit rambling on that. Just my opinion on it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, everyone.